Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video, I'm going to take a look at a case from Deepcool. This is the CG530 4F. The 4F, if you're wondering, is a kind of additional model, so you can get just the plain CG530 in both black, as we've got here, and also in white. That one comes without any fans. If you get the CG530 4F, this one is included with, believe it or not, 4 fans, hence the 4F. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory there from Deepcool, which is very nice to see. Now, some of you may have recalled a video we did a little bit previously, which was on the Antec C3, or was it the C5? I'm not sure, one of the two. But the C5, I believe it was, is a very, very similar chassis to this. So essentially it's a very similar chassis, some slight modifications to it, but this actually comes in considerably cheaper. So this, if you buy as just the fanless version, you can pick up here in the UK for just under £60, which I think for a kind of fish tank style dual tempered glass case, it's actually pretty affordable. If you go for the version with the 4 fans and the included ARGB and PWM hub, you're looking closer to 80. So it's going to be pretty much something for everybody. So if you like the idea of the case, but maybe not too keen on the fans, or you've got your own fans already, which you wish to put in, then you do have that option again, which is something which I actually mentioned in the Antec review, saying it'd be nice if this case actually didn't come with fans, so you could put your own in. So this is kind of perfect in that regard. So in today's video, I'm going to go through, do a little bit of a teardown, go through the process, see what comes apart, see what facilities we've got, go through some of the sizes, dimensions, etc. And then you can work out whether or not this is going to be suitable for your next PC build. So we'll start off with the dimensions of the case, and I'll put those on the screen below so you can see what they are, both the height, the width, and also the depth. Now this is a dual chamber style case. So for those of you not too sure what that means, is essentially it means you've got 2 compartments. So the front compartment is where you put all of your kind of fancy bits, your motherboard, your processor, your graphics card, all your cooling equipment. And in the back, you put some of the less, well, the more of the ugly parts. So all of your wiring, your power supply, things like fan hubs, all that kind of stuff. So you can keep all of the kind of ugly stuff hidden out of the way and make this into a proper showcase. So let's get straight in and start taking this apart. So we'll start off with the front panel. So this is tempered glass and it comes off relatively easily. There are thumb screws on the back. They are not captive ones, so they do pop out. Nice to see they've actually possibly taken some heed from a previous comment I made about the Antec cases, whereas the Antec ones, these are just plastic screws which generally get quite fragile and break over time, whereas these are nice knurled ones, and yeah, nice to see that nice metal screws there. Isn't a big deal, but certainly it makes it feel a little bit more premium. Removing the side panel is pretty easy to do. There's a little handle on the back there, so you just slide the panel slightly backwards and then pull it away from the case. It has actually resting on ledges as well, so it's not going to accidentally fall out, which again is quite nice. Also, there is a kind of black band, or if you're getting the white version, there'll be a white band around the outside edge. So for fingerprints, etc., it's quite good for hiding those, and also kind of integrates it with the rest of the design. There is a very slight smoke tint to the black version. So with that out of the way, we can see inside of the case, inside of the kind of the primary chamber. This is a really nice layout. You've also got full support for BTF or Project Zero style motherboards. So those have got the connectors on the back of the motherboard rather than being on the front. Of course, you can use a normal ATX motherboard in here if you like to. The choice is entirely up to you. It just means you've got the flexibility to use either type of motherboard. Also, it will fit micro ATX motherboards and ITX motherboards, although I think in this type of case you probably want to go for a full-size ATX, because some of the cutouts and holes obviously will be exposed if you're using a smaller motherboard and may detract from some of its finer looks. So obviously we have to mention the fact that the fans are included in this particular model. So this is the 4F version, and the fans, I'm glad to say, are actually very good. Pretty top-notch fans. They've got a really nice control over the PWM ranges, and with them on their lowest setting, they're absolutely whisper quiet. No annoying clicks or anything going on in that, so they're really good high-quality fans. Even though they do look like some of the cheaper ones which you can get on places like AliExpress, etc. Design-wise, yes, they look very similar, but in terms of actual using them, the motors and the electrics are far, far superior. The fans themselves are both 4-pin PWM and also 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB, and every single one of the fans also has a daisy chain or pass-through, so you can link fans together should you need to. Although you probably won't want to, because there is actually an included PWM and ARGB hub in the back. It is limited on ports, so potentially daisy chaining other devices into the system may be appropriate. Something which is a little bit of a shame, which is missing from here, is rubber grommets, which in this particular instance I completely understand because of the nature of the board and also the Back to the Future / Project Zero nature as well. And also the fact that the side sections here for passing through your larger cables, like your main 24-pin power cable, that has actually got a bit of a right angle to it as well. So it's hard to actually put a rubber grommet into a right angle shape. And also the bits, the pass-throughs at the bottom and also the top are probably going to be populated with cabling anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Of course, you can on the aftermarket pick up rubber grommets should you want to. Other nice features is the fact that all of the PCI Express mounting plates on the back of the motherboard, they're all removable and also screwed in as well, so you can take those out should you wish to, and if you need to repopulate them at any time you can just put them straight back in. They're not those cheap fold-out ones which you see on some other cases. Next, I think we should discuss about fans and radiators and what we can put in here. So we'll start at the bottom. So at the bottom, we've got this nice hexagonal mesh. You can put in the bottom a 360mm AIO, or you can instead install 3 120mm fans. No options for 140s on the bottom. And also there is a filter on the bottom as well to prevent dust ingress. On the side, as you can see, we've currently got 3 fans included. So these are 3 120mm fans. If you wish to, you can replace those with 2 140s or other fans of your choosing. That again is going to be entirely up to you, although realistically if you're buying it with fans then you're probably better off just leaving the ones that are in there. And the ones that are in there are actually reverse airflow. So these ones are designed so that the airflow is actually coming into the case, but you don't have to see the horrible framework on the back of the fan. So it's all nicely exposed so you can see all of that lovely RGB goodness. Also, the fans have the infinity effect. So in the center hub, there is the infinity mirror, and also that is replicated on the sides of the fans as well. And the RGB actually does go around the entire outer edge of the fans, which is always nice to see if you like your RGB. In the side as well, if you wanted to, you can put either a 140 or a 280 AIO. 360 physically won't fit in there, there isn't quite enough room. Although if you get a slightly smaller one, possibly with some modifications, but I would recommend against it. And really you don't need to, because in this top section, you do have the option of putting in 3 120mm fans or a 360mm AIO. And the mountings have been widened out a little bit as well, so you can also put in a 280mm AIO if you want to, or 2 140mm fans. On the back of the case, as you can see, it comes included with the 120mm fan to replicate what we've got here. Although this is a traditional airflow direction, so this is currently set as an exhaust, and again is a 120. Unfortunately, there's no option for putting a 140 in there, so you can't up the size of the fans in the rear, unfortunately. Other nice little convenience features, the motherboard pillars, they're all pre-installed in the ATX layout, and also something which I personally like to see is the fact that the center plug or center pole is actually one of those locating ones. So it's got a little indentation in it, so when you put your motherboard on, it kind of locks it all nicely into place. So I think that's pretty much it for the interior on this side. Let's take a look at the rear. So on the back, no real surprises here. We've got our removable PCI Express cover. We've also got the individual slot covers as well, which can be replaced, as I said. You've got the nice hexagonal mesh there for letting airflow out for your 120mm fan. There is a little bit of vertical adjustment available on it, but very little. And also at the top, we've also got some more hexagonal mesh. So if you're in a positive pressure environment, which probably you will be, this will allow some of the extra heat to escape that accumulates at the top of the case. Over on the side, you've got the mounting area for your ATX power supply, and also there's additional ventilation in the bottom here, which is basically where your possible hard drives are going to be if you're going to install some. Next, we'll move around to the rear side. So on the rear side, you can see we've got this nice ventilation on both aspects. So one, obviously for the intake, for the 3 fans on the side there. And this section here is going to allow lots of fresh air into possibly hard drives in the bottom, or your PSU, which will be mounted in this area. So anyway, plenty of ventilation here on the rear panel, and removing it is the same as the front panel. So again, more of the metal knurled thumb screws, which I do appreciate. And then to remove it, there's a handle on the side, and you just pull this backwards and it slides off. And you see the porosity of the case actually pretty good. I wasn't too sure. These do look like they are actually squares. I went to say it a little bit earlier, but looking on it closer, I thought they were circles, but they are in fact actually squares. So again, like I said, Deepcool have got a bit of a thing about squares in some of their design language, so it's nice to see that that has been actually translated even to the back of the case, where most people are never going to appreciate it, but I like it nonetheless. The panel itself is actually pretty good as well, and a very limited flex to it. Okay, so now we can take a look at the kind of the messy side, and you can see it's pretty messy already. In terms of your wiring, pretty much all the wiring is nicely blacked out, so you can route that either down this front section, or you can attach it here. There are some push out areas, so you can cable tie things in, or Velcro wraps, that kind of stuff. There's also a removable drive cage here. So this drive cage here will support either a single 3.5-inch drive on the inside, and potentially if you wanted to, you could put some 2.5s on there. So you can put all three in at the same time, but I'm not sure whether that's going to generate a little bit of heat if they're all sandwiched together. Obviously it's going to be down to the individual. There is actually quite a bit of room behind there, although depending on your power supply and the cables that are attached to your power supply, you may want to use this section just for cable management for your power supply, because you can have your power supply kind of here. You can have power supplies of up to around about 200 mil, so pretty decent sized power supplies. And also, again, something which caught me out on the C5 from Antec is the fact that these cables are still a little bit on the short side for routing down to the hub at the bottom, but because we've got the daisy chain option, you can daisy chain them to give you about another, I don't know, 4 inches, 3 inches. So that makes actually managing these cables a little bit easier, so taking some of those worries away. So let's take a look at some of the connectivity. So we've got a dual USB 3.0 Type A connection. We've also got our HD audio. There is a USB Type C, always good to see one of those. And also you've got your combo block for the front panel, although this actually only requires the power button and also the power LED. So a little bit pointless, but it's nice to have it, makes assembly a little bit easier. There is also an additional cable which comes down from the front, which is for the LCD or LED. So that goes through into the hub, which is mounted at the bottom. You're probably seeing some B-roll footage of that where it's located. The hub itself is a little bit on the kind of the smaller side, and you've only got 4 channels which all replicate the individual channel. So you've got a 4-pin PWM, you've also got a 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB, and also SATA power. So that will provide power to all the fans and also all of the lighting, leaving you just to connect up to your motherboard with the pass-through for the PWM and also the ARGB. And again, it's powered by SATA. Other things as well, because obviously it is that dual chamber design, so you can stuff an absolute ton of stuff in here and not have to worry too much about it in terms of cable management or making it look nice and clean and tidy. And if we pull the cables out of the way there, you can see again those fans. So the frames are at the back, reverse blade fans, so it pulls in air from this back side and pushes it into the inner chamber. Next we can take a look at the bottom. So we've got feet on here, so these are about 20 mil off of the ground, and also there is a foam pad as well to absorb vibrations, and also they don't mark desks, which is awesome, rather than the rubber ones which tend to leave a little bit of black marks, so that's nice that they've used those. Also you've got this removable filter on the bottom. Now I don't like these filters, I've said this in many occasions. It's just one of those kind of flimsy ones, although the porosity of it is actually a little bit bigger than some of the other ones I've seen on other brands, so not too bad. Although realistically I would say, depending on your configuration, if you are planning to put fans or whatever in this bottom section, I would probably ignore this altogether. Although if you're not putting fans in there, then you can leave it on and it'll prevent any dust being pulled in anyway. Again, it's entirely up to you. It's fine. If they have fans mounted on the bottom as standard, I would say definitely ditch this, but yeah, it's there, so kind of might as well use it, and it stops spiders getting in. Before we take a look at the top section, we'll take a look at this side. So this can also be removed as well. A little bit more tricky to do. There's a couple of screws to undo to remove it. Realistically, most people are probably never going to need to take it apart. And also it does add to a significant amount of structural rigidity. So yeah, I would probably leave it in place. There's no real need to remove it. And next we can take a look at the top of the case. So the top again is very much a Deepcool inspired thing with their color coded tab on the back of this magnetic filter, and also the USB ports, rather than being in the traditional blue color for USB 3.0, they've color coded them to match in with Deepcool's color coding. So that's a nice little thing to see, something which other brands do, such as Corsair with their yellow tags and yellow ports. So that's pretty good. Again, on the top, you can install a 360mm AIO, a 280, 240, etc. Or you can put 2 140mm fans or 3 120mm fans. Something which I actually did complain about also on the C5, so it seems only fair that I mention it here as well, is this kind of wasted space here. It seems really they could have made this actually a lot smaller, so cut it off around here and have it as one kind of uniform pattern or size at the top. Just seems, again, a little bit of an odd decision to do it the way they've did it. I'd have liked to have seen this section a little bit wider. Then you could possibly have the integration of like a Qi charger, so maybe something like that. Again, it's a very nitpicky thing, but just seems a little bit on the odd side. No doubt there is a logical reason for it, but I've got no idea what it is. So before we wrap this up, we'll take a quick look at the accessories bag. So you get an instruction manual, you also get some cable ties and also all of the screws, fixings, etc. that you could possibly want. So that's all nice, ready to go straight out of the box. And I think this is actually a really nice case. Again, it is very much like the Antec C5, which I actually did like, although there were a few caveats about that. One being the price. I thought it was not outrageously expensive, but certainly not as competitive as I'd have liked it to have been. Whereas this, the CG530, basically ticks all the same boxes as the Antec C5, but does it at a much lower price and doesn't have some of the same quirks, such as the very cheap and somewhat noisy fans, which some people don't care about, but I personally do appreciate the silence of a nice fan and also a nice fan motor. It does make a lot of difference, especially if you're trying to sell or build a premium PC. The last thing you want if you're putting a lot of money into your desktop computer is for it to be kind of whirring away and driving you slightly mad, which this fortunately won't do. Again, with the PWM hubs they put in here and the motors, the lighting, etc., I think they've done a fantastic job, as Deepcool generally tend to do. It's one of those brands which often gets a little bit kind of forgotten about these days, especially in the US and also in parts of Europe. But elsewhere, they're going great guns, so nice to see that happening. Yeah, I'm kind of slightly lost for words. It's a great case, great price. Again, if you don't want it with the fans, around about £60 or less. If you want it with the fans and the hub, you're looking at around about £80, possibly even less, which at the moment when case prices seem to be rocketing almost on a daily basis, it's nice to see something which is kind of, I would say, cheap and cheerful, but also pretty structurally sound. I don't think you can go too far wrong. So there you go. There are my thoughts and opinions on the CG530 4F. We will be doing a build in this in a live stream, so if you want to see how that goes, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and try and catch up with us on our live streams on Saturday evening here in the UK, around about 8 PM. You can ask questions about the case and talk about other tech should you wish to. So I think that's going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, smash the like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting subscribe and also the chime notification. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.